Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our episode of Outlandish. This is episode number 4. We're still working out the difficulties on 3, so we'll have that up for you as well too. My name is Zachary Rogers, sports writer, educator, and then to my left we have.
Don Yan, or Don here, business analyst in the sports industry. Excited to be back and ready to get into some of the good topics we got today for y'all.
All right, let's get it. So last episode, we talked about whether or not we talked about whether the Lakers were going to make the playoffs, and we talked about the NBA MVP discussion. These were probably in our first or second episode, so we're kind of revisiting. We may revisit that later on today. So, coming off of our first topic, we're going to talk about the Big Baller brand. So, Lonzo, there was a video of him apparently dumping his shoes into a garbage chute. And they were the Big Baller. They were the all-black ZO2s. So, allegedly, Alan Foster, the manager, is said to steal $1.5 million. Himself and LeVar Ball are the only ones that had access to the money, but they can't account for the $1.5 million. So, backstory is that Foster has a criminal past for money laundering and fraud. So, what is the Big Baller brand breaking up? What does that mean for Lonzo, and what does that mean for the brand in general?
I like to first off and say I really don't like to see this story because it's not pushing it's pushing the narrative that you need to sign with a big corporation and you can't do it yourself. And I don't like that. I really feel like that if you want to do that, there is power in doing that and that it can be done.
Yes.
Just because one person is stealing money does not mean the strategy or the tactics you want can't be accomplished.
It doesn't negate it.
Yeah, it doesn't negate it. But overall, what it kind of means for Lonzo is that is he's in a weird spot. So now he kind of has to go. Now he's publicly quoted going against his dad. And the media has been trying to find something concrete, 100% substantial to kind of hang LeVar out there or to kind of take him down.
Yeah. And
now they finally got it. So it's kind of like, we told you. And now this happens when it's not necessarily his fault. It is. He is responsible. But it's not 100%. The idea didn't work. They just entrusted the wrong person. And yes, that does fall into LeVar. And as far as him going to another place, I don't know. Maybe he does go to Nike, but I can say from experience, especially being in that realm, his buying power is a lot less right now. Gotcha. Because they've seen him play on the court and they see what kind of player he's going to possibly be, and they have actual track record versus he's the number 2 overall pick. He's popping. His dad's going crazy. He's saying he could be better than Kobe, better than LeBron, better than Steph. But now we actually have
all those things he did say, but yes.
And now we have actual court performance that isn't even close to showing that level. Not to say it can't happen, so his buying power is definitely a little lower.
I think, for me, I agree with some of what you said and I disagree. For me, I think when you mentioned, with Big Baller Brand, he didn't have to be forced to a Nike and Adidas or a Reebok, even though that Reebok hasn't really had a major star since AI. But,
facts.
Yeah, I like it from that standpoint, and I did like the fact, I don't know if you remember when Lonzo was drafted and he played in the Summer League, he would switch sneakers every game.
Yep.
And I thought that was really cool. So for Lonzo, I'm excited. I'm in the middle. I'm excited, but I'm not excited because I do like the flexibility that the Big Baller Brand created. I think it will help. I don't think it would. Lonzo did a good job. It was a good marketing strategy from LeVar. The fact that he should be free to play whatever sneaker he wants to. I didn't necessarily agree with every antic that LeVar did, but I understood why he did it. The one thing I cannot agree with was how he treated his wife and some of the comments he made about his wife and the whole cancer situation, about her doing X, Y, and Z. That was out of bounds. But everything else, as far as getting on TV with the Stephen A. Smiths, the ESPNs, and causing a scene, he did that because it was symbolic of well, this is what you guys do, except you guys just shut people out or you just expect them to bow down to your company. I like the fact that LeVar was a good representation of a businessman for a black person, for a black man.
That too.
Did I agree with everything that he did? No. But I understanding this society where people fold to these big corporations, I like the fact that he tried to start his own. It is unfortunate that Foster embezzled allegedly $1.5 million, but I did like what the Big Baller Brand was trying to do. I think it hurt Lonzo's career, but it helped it. It was a catch-22, but I think it more so hurt his career.
I mean, I personally think it's not dead. I think they just need to they need to reposition it and take it a little and kind of, I don't want to say take a step back, but well, pretty much take a step back and develop a new strategy on what they're kind of going to do with it. I think they have a mass following. It's pretty much a household name. Maybe it's
I wouldn't say household, but
almost it's popular. It's a name.
I can't say your household until you're at least in your own store or in a mall or in a you know what I'm saying? For me, you have to be in a concession. Because if you think about it, Foam City, that's a sneaker store where they buy sneakers and they wrap them up. They're in malls. They're in boutiques.
That's true, but I mean, you got places that barely. Okay, I'll say these places, these brands barely have footprint in store. Mm-hmm. So that's true, Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Things.
I don't know though.
They only got one store.
All right, that's true.
But that's in LA, just one.
But Fashion Nova has all the Instagram comedians wearing their stuff. Big Baller Brand.
You're right.
Give me an athlete that wears Big Baller Brand.
I can't give you one, but that's why I say maybe we need to go back and reposition this thing. It's not dead.
I don't disagree with you, but it's hard to come over money laundering. Because no matter if he did it or not, it's still attached to your brand.
Because now you got people who are gonna. Now you got people who are gonna be real skeptical about the one thing that everybody's always counting is that money. Like,
and I understand it's not like
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
though.
It's hard because I don't fault LeVar for that, but it's still your brand at the end of the day. No matter what you do, that's still gonna be attached to you, whether you did it or not.
That's true.
Just like, no, that's probably a bad example, but no, I get it. But I did love the fact that when the Big Baller Brand, when they did pop-up shops, because they did a pop-up shop at Tyson's Corner or Bethesda. They did it at one of them.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they were doing the games, the league.
It was all.
It's all sponsored by Big Baller Brand.
Yep.
It's no different than what Ice Cube is doing with the Big Three, but
it's just pushed a little differently.
It was pushed a little differently in the way LeVar ruffled a lot of feathers, which I'm still for. But I think money laundering is. I feel like if you going to keep pushing it, you probably have to change the name or something. I don't know what that looks like.
I think.
But it's salvageable.
I wish I could buy it. I wish I had the money to buy it because I would buy it and I feel like I could develop that thing. But who knows?
Yeah, but I think me personally, it hurt Lonzo, but it didn't kill. It didn't necessarily like destroy everything. But I think for LeVar, he'll probably think something else. He's always.
Yeah, he's had multiple businesses too. Most people don't know that, but this isn't his first business.
Exactly. Okay, so. Hopefully the Big Baller Brand gets back on track. I actually love some of the things that the Big Baller Brand stood for. Some things I didn't like, but as a brand in general, I was okay with the Big Baller Brand.
Some of their merch was good.
Some of it was, yes.
Like some of it was good. So, I don't know if I agree with some of the prices, but overall, I like some of the merch. Stay in Your Lane tee, I like that tee.
Yeah, but how much were the t-shirts? Like $50?
They were going $55, and they eventually moved down to $35.
All right, you think about it. Nike shirts. The Under Armour's, the Adidas's, their shirts are $29, $30. Mm-hmm. They have to add another $20 because they're independent, and then they don't have a store like you said.
Facts. So, and then it's all about the positioning. But I wish them the best.
I do too. All right, so that's it for our first topic on the Big Baller Brand. So we're gonna go to our next topic, the women's college basketball. Still in the Sweet 16. It's gonna wrap up rather shortly, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna wrap up tomorrow. So Sabrina Ionescu, she has been balling. She's a junior guard for Oregon. She has dropped 18 triple-doubles within her career at Oregon, which is amazing. She finished last week's game against Indiana with 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. And then I want to say yesterday against South Dakota, yesterday meaning Friday night, she finished the game with 17 points, I want to say 11 assists and 7 rebounds. Ironically, I can't even say ironically. Realistically, ESPN didn't show any type of highlight, acknowledgement, or recognition for her. But they talked about LeBron and his triple-double, and I forgot the rest of it. Is this alarming if you're ESPN, and why haven't they shown her respect? And she was interviewed by, I want to say, a regular Oregon beat writer from the local news, and she was like, well, ESPN never shows women any love. So your thoughts on that situation?
I mean, she's right. Like, she's 100% right. They don't show the women's games any kind of love. And then it's like a circular conversation because they always go, oh well, people go, oh well, women's sports don't do very well. Well, why don't women's sports do very well? Well, nobody ever hears about women's sports, so it's kind of like they're not doing well because nobody knows about them. Nobody knows about them because they're not doing well. So it's like, they need to find a way to be more even. And those are good stories. Like, it's not like I'm not saying it needs to be the headline or it needs to be the story they're leading.
That needs to be the headline. Why are we talking about LeBron when this woman is when Sabrina is in the postseason and she's dropped her 18th triple double in the postseason? LeBron is at home. I mean,
but my whole thing with that is like they don't even talk about Zion before they talk about LeBron.
No,
so they don't.
Zion's been the headline before LeBron.
He has only been. There wasn't anything about LeBron. My whole point is saying, like, if there is, let's say there's like all three. Let's say there's LeBron news, there's a Zion news, and then there's Sabrina news, which it seems to be there is.
Okay.
They're always. I'm not saying you need to go with Sabrina first. Maybe lead with LeBron, but treat Zion's performance and Sabrina's performance the same. Give her some credit. Give them the shout out because they deserve it too. Like, she's balling too. The women's game, some girls out there, they hit them. They really fundamentally sound playing good basketball, and it's just not being shown any kind of love. So she's right when she says they don't really care about women's sports. I mean, just give them some run. Like, we should always be covering the women's game to the same degree you cover the men's game.
I agree.
Now, if somebody follows the men's game, that's different. I can't make you follow women's basketball the same way I make you follow women's. But I need to be presenting them both in a very reputable way.
I agree.
So you have the option and the choice.
I agree. So I'm going to give you some names before we get to Sabrina.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm going to give you Shaquilla Hill.
Okay.
Guard that played at Grambling State.
Yep, the quadruple double. She only got a shout out because LeBron gave it to her,
exactly.
Which is a terrible thing. But
exactly. I love ESPN's Undefeated, and that is ESPN. However, they already don't give the Undefeated that much unless Marcus Spears is on TV. So that should have been on ESPN. A quadruple double. I haven't heard of any men getting a quadruple double. Then we're going to talk about Regis Jesuit. I apologize if I mispronounced her name. She was the second woman to win the high school McDonald's slam dunk competition, and her slam dunks were legit.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Exactly. That wasn't on ES. No, that.
She got a little run.
She got a little run.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, but
she was top play for a day. That's it.
But my thing is Sabrina Ionescu is playing lights out basketball in the postseason on prime time, and the women are getting more. That's typically the time because the WNBA they barely get on ESPN 2 and 3, and then they only put them on ABC possibly for the finals, which needs to be worked on. They should be on the ESPN Prime. No shade to the Little League World Series. No shade to baseball. I love baseball, but the Little World League Series does not need to be on over the WNBA playoffs. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but
that's true.
Sabrina, she should get more run. I think she should be acknowledged. And it sucks because she's playing lights out basketball at a top school. Regardless, I think ESPN dropped the ball. And instead of we're not saying, all right, I personally think it should have been at the top. I don't need to hear about LeBron if y'all not making the playoffs.
True.
Like, LeBron is great, don't get me wrong. But he's always on ESPN for when he loses, when he wins, when he draws, when he blows his nose. His son even got more time. And his son is gifted, don't get me wrong, but I just think so.
Yeah, he is what, 8th grade? Like, come
That's
on
what
now.
I'm saying. Let that boy
she's a collegiate.
Collegiate all-star.
Like, one step away. All-American.
She's a sure pick in the WNBA draft.
I was like, a definite draft pick in the WNBA, professional. Like, exactly. I agree. And the only time you really see them give the women's game any love is when it's something that's been, like, festering forever, and even then it's still a footnote. So like the girl, what was the girl who the high school women's basketball player who played in Alabama, and she got she was on the USA national team, and they gave her the wrong check. They gave her a check when she wasn't supposed to get one, and she spent the money, and it was like USA gave her the money, and because she spent the check, they said she wasn't an amateur anymore. And her parents paid back the money, but she wasn't allowed to play.
She gave back
for the whole season, and it was something stupid. It was like $200. It wasn't even that. More that important. It was like $200.
That's what I'm saying. Even still,
come on, and it took like 3 months for her to get any kind of press.
They had to,
and before they even gave her it took the press 3 months to give her any kind of push, and even then, it still took 3 weeks for her to get reinstated to play. But it's like it took like 2 months to even pick up the story. That should if that would have happened in an NBA in like another like a McDonald's All American, if that would happen to Zion when he was in high school,
they would have filed a motion.
They would have like.
And it sucks because you remember that whole probe with all the college players that took money from that guy and the whole YouTube sheet and everything.
Yeah, like
it's like all those guys are well paid. They're in the NBA now, and it's like I just feel like ESPN and other major outlets have to do a better job of covering women's sports. Why is it that I only hear about the Sparks when they hire Derek Fisher?
True.
Why? Why do I only hear about Candace Parker when she's on TNT with Shaq? And granted, she's doing she's doing a great job, but
better than Chuck.
Way better than Chuck. But I'm just saying, Candace Parker is balling out for the Sparks daily, and I just feel like women they're definitely being underpaid, and they have to play overseas after the off season. So they're playing basketball a whole year round.
Yeah. And
I just think it's unfortunate because Sabrina, to bring it back full circle, she's been balling. She's doing this in the NCAA tournament while getting her teammates involved. And we talked about Russell Westbrook when he won the MVP, but then he gets bounced the first round of playoffs. Mm-hmm. She's about to be in the Elite Eight. Obviously, one's college, one's NBA, but I don't care.
I see where you're going with it, though. I see where you're going with it.
Russell wasn't getting 18 in UCLA, and he had Kevin Love on his team. I understand. Do better, ESPN.
Please.
Next topic we're going to talk about Justin Fields and Tate Martell. They both were approved to transfer to different schools due to the hardship waiver. Justin Fields and Tate Martell, they were both on
QB1.
QB1.
Yep. Tate was first.
Tate was on season 1, and then Justin was on season 2.
Yep.
The one that just is previously or currently on Netflix.
Yep.
Justin Fields originally signed to Georgia. Not sure why, because Jake Fromm was lighting it up, but I guess in the back of his mind he thought he can outplay Jake Fromm. Didn't really happen.
Nope.
So long story short, he gets into a situation where one of the players on the baseball team uses a racial slur, allegedly. And then Tate Martell, you may remember him. He signed with Ohio State. However, he was behind
Dwayne
Haskins, who's currently a NFL prospect, and the draft is coming up. So both players transferred. Ironically enough, Justin is going to where Martell was, and Martell's going to Miami. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about them being able to play right away? Does that affect?
Shout out to the good old NCAA.
Oh gosh.
The biggest non-profit organization in the world.
That's what they call it. Huh?
Shout out to the NCAA because they seem to always win and continue to win.
Yes.
I don't understand what hardship means at this point in time with these decisions because, okay, maybe Justin Fields maybe there was some more things behind the curtain that we didn't know about that were happening. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there because being another African-American male,
yes,
I can definitely tell you there's been some situations where I was not comfortable,
yes,
but I'm not him.
Yeah.
So who knows? But then I can definitely say in the Tate Martell situation, his justification for hardship was not that at all.
Because Urban Meyer's going to be the athletic director now?
And because Urban Meyer was suspended. And I don't understand that because in that case, there's so many college players that deserve hardship waivers and deserve to transfer to other schools.
Yes.
To me, it sounds like the NCAA is just riding that line even worse between determining what's amateur and what's pro.
I agree.
And what they mean by amateur and pro and what is the difference. I think the NCAA is just one step. A hop, skip, and a jump away from just paying players at this point. They're a hop, skip, and a jump away, but it'll never happen. And I think it just needs to be done. And then the last part, come on, Tate. You can't be on Twitter talking tough, talking about some don't shoot and miss twice, and then as soon as homeboy rolls up, you leave and roll out. That's just come on now. You can't just do that, but. Who knows? Maybe he was told one thing and the coaching staff decided to go a different direction and that changed the decision. So I can only fault him a little bit, but I wish he would. I'm personally happy about it too because everybody gets to play. I really want to see all of them play at the end of the day.
I do too.
Because they're not really there for an education. They're there for sports. If they were there for education, then see that the school would promise.
Because freshmen don't really come out like that in football. They come out junior year.
Facts, but like you got to play to get. You got to get on the field to get to the NFL. And
I agree.
I really just feel like they need to go ahead and take just go ahead and let the boys play, do whatever they want to do, and just stop this whole amateur madness. Like I'm all for them helping their brand and trying to get to where they want to go. Yeah. If they really cared about education, they would guarantee education for all 4 years as soon as you sign a letter of intent, not semester by semester. Mm-hmm. So that's my thoughts.
I agree with mostly everything that you said. I think for the Justin Fields situation, yes, that's a hardship, but at the end of the day, if I'm not mistaken, he went to high school in Georgia or in Atlanta.
He went to high school. It was in Kennesaw.
Yeah. So my thing is, you're still gonna face that regardless. There's no way you can tell me that you didn't face that prior to going to Georgia. And then I still don't understand what you thought and how you thought you were gonna outplay Jake Fromm, who is the college coming of Peyton Manning. Shout out to Peyton. But no, in all seriousness though, I mean, I'm not disturbed by it. I'm okay with it, but I don't think that was necessarily a hardship. As an African American male, yes, that the N word is not tolerable, but I just know that there are so many more African American males and females that go through certain or worse situations, and they still didn't get to transfer and then play, and they still had to wait out whether it was injury or whether it was an assault case or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So I just think that the Justin Fields one, that was a bit of a stretch. I thought he made a bad decision in going to Georgia from the beginning. Yep. But you get your free will. You get whatever you want to do. Tate Martell, I don't really have any sympathy for him. He's a really good talent. But if you remember QB1, first season, what did he do when they had that big playoff game? He was on there tweeting before the game, talking trash. Yeah. And someone rolled up on him and he didn't like that.
He didn't keep that same energy.
That's what I'm saying. And my thing is, you talking all that trash, but you didn't back it up on the field. He is a talented gift. He is very athletic. He sometimes he has the ability of a great leadership, but then there's sometimes where he's not a great leader, and I don't think he's all that of a quarterback. I think when he goes to Miami, it's his job to lose.
That's true.
I think it's his job. I think he can possibly start week 1, week 2, week 3, but how are you going to act when that rust starts to settle? Realistically, you were the backup in Ohio State if you were not the third string backup, or if you twice. So I just think that the situation is a win-win. It's a win-loss for him. You can go in there and you can win. You can light it up. Or you can get upset if you get benched or if you don't start, and then you can't transfer again. I mean, you can, but then you wait a whole another year.
He gets a hardship.
He ain't getting another hardship. You're going to Miami.
Coach don't like me.
Like, the U, that's like, yeah, you went to Ohio State. That's a lot. There's a lot of tradition. But the U, that was the mecca for athletes back in the day. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of pressure. And then they're on the up and up now, too. They had their last 2 seasons were pretty solid.
I'm interested to see how Tate does just being in Miami, because knowing he's from Vegas.
Party life.
And what he's shown to be on QB1. I'm real interested to see how he even handles just being in Coral Gables. Yes. I think I was saying that. Coral Gables. And just being in Miami. And being able to manage playing football with having access to a whole bunch of different, literally everything. I can't even list everything. Like, I've been down there before. Like, yes, you have access to everything, even at like 17, let alone being a starting quarterback for the University of Miami. So we'll see.
I mean, I wish them both the best. I think Justin Fields is going to have a better season. But I think they both can have upside. But my thing is, I think there are other NCAA students in smaller conferences and bigger conferences that have really went through hardship and they didn't get granted. So that's what kind of makes me upset.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot the story out of Baylor a couple years ago when the gentleman who was the guy who took the Instagram picture, he was in the kickoff toss, and he was looking huge and swole, and eventually, long story short, he ended up getting accused of sexual assault falsely. And at the time they didn't know, but got kicked off the football field, didn't get drafted to the NFL because of that, and ended up now being found not guilty, and all charges were dropped, and his life's pretty much over. But not over, but he's trying to make the league. But like, that's a hardship to me.
That's a hardship. Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see.
All right, so now we're on our second portion of the show. We're going quick strike. Quick strike meaning quick answer, yay or nay. No, yes or no. Yay or nay is our next segment. But yes or no question, yes or no answer with a quick explanation. So who do you have for your pick for women's and men's championship? So who do you have winning the tournament?
I'm gonna go with women's first, and I think for women's, I'm going to go with Baylor. They are really, really good this year. They have the two. I forget the young ladies' names, young women's names, but they have two really solid power forwards and centers down low on the block. They're changing, altering shots. They play really well. Their coach, they're like 30. I think they lost maybe 2 games this whole year. So I want to say like 33-3 or something like that.
If I'm not mistaken, Baylor only lost 1 game.
I thought it was 3. I'm tripping. So they lost 1 game. Excuse me. They're doing better than I thought. And their coach, I forget her name too. Excuse me, but she's been there and she's an elite coach. Been there for about 16 years, something like that at Baylor. Elite. So I'm going with Baylor.
34-1.
Yeah, 34-1. Okay, I knew they were up there. So I'm gonna go with Baylor for the women's side, and then on the men's side,
Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, Kim. How long has she been there?
She has been at Baylor.
It's up there. It's a long time.
She's been at Baylor since 2000.
Yeah, I was like, I know it's like 16-something years, so that's what, 19 years going on 20? So she been there for a while. She's Kim Mulkey. Am I saying that right? Mulkey. She's great. So that's my other one. And then for men's, I'm going to go ahead, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to pick Duke. I felt like if they got past their tough game, with UCF.
Both of them been tough. God damn.
But I feel like the UCF game really taught them they could win a tough game. And now that they know they can win a tough game in prime time, their talent is just going to be, they're going to relax and their talent is going to really show. So that's why I got Baylor and Duke.
Baylor and Duke. So I concur. I think that Duke is going to win the title. I was actually really surprised that North Carolina got out. I thought North Carolina was going to be the other contender that could possibly win.
Yeah.
For women's, I'm going to surprise the world. We're going back to the Connecticut days. Gino Auriemma is going to take them back this year. Nafessa Collier, I probably pronounced the name, Molly Bent, and then Olivia Nelson. That trio, and just the fact that they're playing the inside-outside game. They don't necessarily, they have a dominant player, but they have a good offensive motion. And to be honest, Notre Dame, they had a scare today. And I mean, Baylor's tough, but they haven't necessarily had a bad game yet.
True.
Everybody's doing a bad game in the tournament, but can you survive that? So I got Duke, and then I got Connecticut.
Okay. So what's next?
So the next one, we're doing it all together. Gotcha. So I'm after that. Next, we have the pass interference call.
Okay.
So, as you may remember, the Rams went to the Super Bowl and got whooped on. Prior to that, they were in the NFC Championship game against the New Orleans Saints. And then there was I can't say questionable, but there was a huge pass interference, even helmet-to-helmet unnecessary roughness call that was not called. Do you like the pass interference review?
No.
Okay.
Flat out no.
Okay.
Long story short, I think the NFL is doing what we call CYA in the office.
Cover your
ass.
Okay.
And that's what they're pretty much doing by putting this rule in, and they need to go ahead and make every judgment penalty holding now should be reviewable.
It's gonna be a long
all
game.
that kind of stuff should be reviewable if you're going to do pass interference. So that's why I say intentional grounding should be 100% reviewable now.
Oh God!
All that needs to be reviewable. All those judgment calls should not be reviewable if you're going to make pass interference reviewable, both on offense and defense. So, CYA, NFL.
I agree. I think this is just another knock on why Roger Goodell is lacking as a commissioner. I just think this is a wake-up call or a cover your own butt for the game.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't thinking about adding the replay features, and then plus, please don't. The football games are already long enough, and as a diehard basketball fan, I get tired of seeing refs review out-of-bounds plays over and over. I think that adds an element to the game. But also, the NFL did really miss a big call. I'm just saying, I don't know if the Saints would have beat New England, but it would have been a different game.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it would have been more points scored on both ends, but I don't like it because I think they're just covering their butts for a mistake that they hugely missed, which Roger Goodell has yet to honestly still address wholeheartedly. So, for our last quick strike, we talked about NBA MVPs last time. Last time, I know personally, I said Joel Embiid, and then I believe you said
James Harden.
Does it still stand for you? Does James Harden is he still going to win the MVP?
Yep. I'm going to still pick James. If I didn't pick James, I'm picking James now. Pretty sure I picked James. I don't really know who else you could really give it to. I don't think Steph.
Joel Embiid!
I don't think Steph played enough games. I don't think Joel Embiid made enough games this year.
Look at the game. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't think he played enough games either to get it because I think he's still not in the 70s.
How many games did James Harden miss last year when he won it?
James Harden was still he missed about 8.
More than that.
It was like 8 to 10.
More than that.
He was in the 70s still. And I don't think Joel Embiid is in the 70s this year. So
I can give you that.
That's how I feel. That's what I'm gonna pick. That's what I'm sticking with. That's what I'm riding with. I really wanted Steph to get it. Not gonna work.
He's not the MVP.
He is always.
He's not the most valuable. On Golden State, he's not.
Facts.
He's probably the most. He's probably the glue that holds them together. But I don't think he's the most valuable. So okay, we talked about this before.
They lose.
If you remove Kevin Durant, you're no longer invincible. Just like Hercules. If
you're still winning though.
It's not guaranteed.
You right. You still winning.
No, I don't think y'all winning.
All right.
I'm gonna go personally with Joel Embiid. I just think that you see how the Sixers are with him on the floor and without him. Granted, Jimmy Butler's a stud, Tobias Harris is a stud, but they just look completely different when Joel Embiid's off the floor. And you're right, James Harden played 72 last season.
Yeah. I want to say Joel Embiid is like 60-something this year. So far. Still counting. I'm
saying, a big man with his footwork and his, I'm just saying. 63 and 62. You're right.
So he might not make 70 this year.
I just think, no, you're right, because if you remove James Harden from the Rockets, they're not making the playoffs. They might squiggle in because of Chris Paul. Think about the Clippers teams that he's had. Yeah, you had Blake Griffin, but at that time, Blake Griffin's game didn't mature as much as he did with the Pistons.
I see where you coming from.
So
that's true.
Joel Embiid, we've seen him without him. Yeah. No, last year wasn't really fair because they were like on a hot run.
We know what that team does without him, so I get where you're going with it.
But I think, to your point, I do think that James Harden is just he stepped out too far ahead. However, if voting actually went to the postseason, that could definitely hinge a lot. Because, again, like I told you and Mike, and mostly you, I don't care what James Harden does. He can drop 100 in the regular season. I want to see if you're going to show up for the whole playoffs consecutively. Because we already gave you the excuse of running out of gas. Mm-hmm. We already gave you the excuse of choking. So, all right, we're on our last section of the show. It's called Yay or Nay. This one's supposed to be shorter. So pretty much we bring up a topic. Yep. I'll ask the question. You can say yay or nay and a quick explanation. So we're going to start off with the first one. The Los Angeles Lakers were officially removed from contention for the playoffs last year. Do they trade LeBron over the offseason? Yay or nay?
No, they don't, but they definitely need to. Get rid of him, rebuild everything, try to get Zion, go do whatever you got to do. Trade LeBron for Zion and move forward from there.
I'm gonna say they don't trade him. I'm gonna say nay, but they should as well, Andre, for the exact same reason. 30. He's 34. At the end of the next season, he's gonna be 35, and I don't see you getting an All-Star.
Facts. For
the second one, this is kind of continuing on the LeBron James train. Is it over for Magic Johnson and LeBron? Yay or nay?
I'm gonna say nay. I think the relationship is definitely hurting right now, and it's definitely on life support. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing that's really gonna save it and that'll keep the relationship thriving is when they fire Luke Walton. I think we both have agreed and said he's not gonna be the coach next year. Jalen Rose has said the same thing, and I have to agree with him. So, yeah, I think it's not over. But it's definitely on life support.
I feel bad for Luke because he didn't deserve to be fired. But I'm going to say yay. I respect Magic Johnson and LeBron and him have the same game, so that's where kind of energies attract. But the Lakers aren't going to gain another superstar free agent with Magic and LeBron there. They're not. So it's over. Maybe not this season. They may get some mid-level tiers, but it's over for me. All right. So for our third yay or nay. Is Zion the number one overall pick? And is it a foregone conclusion that Zion's the number one pick?
Yeah, It is. I hate to see it because I feel like there's like Jonte is up there and he should be in the conversation. I feel like ultimately
they got number 2 on the draft.
Yeah, but I feel like ultimately
he's over Zion.
I think no. I was gonna say ultimately I feel like the best player who's gonna be the best player once it's all said and done, like years from now, is probably gonna be R.J. Barrett. He be giving me a lot of that. He giving me a lot of that James Harden, that pace, craftiness, the lefty.
Does that involve choking in the offseason too? I mean, in the postseason
Hey man, if you could draft, so you telling me if you drafted RJ and he turned out to be James Harden, you would be mad? No.
If he chokes in the postseason, yes.
Fair. That's
yes.
Yeah. So that's why I think Zion is the foregone conclusion.
Yes,
yes he is.
I agree. He's a foregone conclusion for the first round pick. I think especially with the UCF game, and then the Florida State game.
Mm-hmm.
He showed me grit when nobody else could do it. Like he inside outside didn't matter. Like some moves, I was just like, and he plays defense.
Yeah,
he plays. He doesn't do that little soft tap. He plays defense. Yeah. So yes, first draft. Shout out to Duke. So for our last yay or nay, this is for the win. Do you like the NFL making the pass interference reviewable, and will it last a long time?
I think it's over within 3 years.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be one of the low-key changes they make.
Yes.
Like the changes that they make, and then you just hear the first game, and they go, "Oh, well, they did change the rules now when they don't want to review one." So, I don't like it. I think they change it within the next 3 years, personally. Again, they did it to CYA.
Yep. I'm gonna say yay. It's gonna be gone in 2 to 3 years as well. I think they're gonna get tired of. It's gonna ruin a lot of momentum, and it's just gonna throw the pace of the game off. Mm-hmm. And then people gonna start calling people out, and then you gotta cover your own butt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's episode 4 in the books. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope that you keep watching. Subscribe. You can follow me at ZACKERYROGERS 13 on Twitter and Instagram. And Dondre, tell them where they can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram at the only Don Yon. THEONLYDONYON.
All right, thanks y'all for watching. Keep checking us out, and we have our YouTube page coming. Good night.